When doing rankings, you have players that you feel real comfortable putting 1 through 10. And then there's always this player or two who you feel like could easily finish in that top 10, could easily make his way into that, but you're just not comfortable putting them there yet because of other variables. That is what this show is all about today. This is our wild card episode, our fantasy football wild card here at Howell Fantasy Sports. I'm Neil Maligno. I like to call these like my not so obvious locks for the week, my wild cards. Whichever you like better, you get it. You get the point. We're going to start with quarterback Sam Howell, Washington quarterback. He's going versus the Cardinals. New offense coordinator Eric Bieniemy has this team rolling, in my opinion. They have talented weapons on offense in terms of wide receiver, running back. I think Sam Howell is getting the perfect situation here. He is the perfect ingredient to add to this pot of talent that I think will just take it to the next level. So not to mention, you're playing the Cardinals who we all know stats wise, perception wise, from what we see on film, they are not the greatest defense. And I think they're going to go even worse this year just because we're all getting the vibe that they're tanking. What do they want? Caleb, is that what they want? That's what it's looking like. So when Sam Howell gets to face that team for the first game of the season, I think he's going to go off. I think it's going to be a statement for him. He has Gibson out of the back. He's a great receiving back. You have the wide receivers in McLaurin and Dotson, who I love. I love both of those guys. I think they're both super talented wide receivers. In super flex leagues, dynasty leagues, where your quarterback situation leaves a lot to be desired, Howell will be everything you need to cover you at the quarterback position. Running back, Kenneth Walker, Seattle. They're facing the Rams this week. The Rams do have Aaron Donald. I know. How can I want a running back to be in the top 10? How can I think he would finish there, Neil, when he's facing Aaron Donald? I agree. It sounds kind of crazy, but the rest of the defense for the Rams, they're dealing with injuries and all this kind of stuff. They're just reeling a little bit. They're not that scary for me. So I like Kenneth Walker this week. You do have Zach Charbonnet there, who doesn't help the situation. It doesn't make you feel even better about Walker for any reason. The only thing it does help is I feel like if this can help Walker stay healthy, that's a big plus. So Walker can put on a show if he's healthy. He's going to get fed. Of course, Zach's going to get put in the mix as well. But I think Walker will pick up where he left off last season with the upside to find himself in the top 10 this week at running back. Wide receiver, Jahan Dotson, Washington, playing the Cardinals. I just mentioned it 2 seconds ago. His quarterback, Sam Howell, is also on this list. There's a little bit of a trend here this week. Dotson fits so perfectly into being a wild card this week to a not so obvious lock of the week. I believe he could easily get into that top 10 at wide receiver for the same reasons that I mentioned for Sam Howell, plus more. Dotson is going to play opposite of Terry McLaurin, who, opposing defenses are going to have to choose which guy's more dangerous, which one are we focusing on this week. I actually think this offense is good enough to feed both of these wide receivers in fantasy. That's a big thing we have concerns about sometimes. Like, can this actually happen? Can both guys be top 25 players? I believe they can. I believe Sam Howell, Bieniemy, all these guys can get it done with them. Also, Dotson's just a flat out playmaker. Like, every time the ball's thrown in his direction, you legitimately have a chance at a touchdown. That's just a flat out fact. So Dotson is a catch away from a touchdown for you any fantasy week. That already gives you that raises that ceiling for you. Now you add in the offense getting better, more stability at quarterback. Everything is coming together for this offense. So the rising wide receiver is going to eat in week 1. Not so obvious lock of the week. Jahan Dotson, get him in your starting lineup right now. And finally, tight end Juwan Johnson for the Saints. They are playing the Titans. Now, the Titans are not the best matchup in the world. Similar to when I mentioned the Rams earlier for the running back. They're not the best matchup. Titans defense can cause problems, but the Saints have a legit quarterback now in Derek Carr. One who I may add knows how to use a tight end. See Darren Waller. Kamara is suspended, so this offense is going to be looking for other ways to score points, ways, players to turn to, players to step up. And Juwan Johnson is in a perfect opportunity to do this. He is a big target tight end for Derek Carr to throw to. He can make plays after the catch. So it's not just like throw it to him first down. Juwan Johnson's looking for more every time he catches the ball. So that's great. And then when focused on what we've seen last year, when focused on, he could be a touchdown machine for this team. So everything is pointing, in favor of Juwan Johnson. Not to mention, we're talking about week 1 where a lot of tight ends are hurt. Kelsey, Waller may be out. Kittle's always hurt. You got these guys who are, the elite tight ends of the group, but they're injured already. They're already in, situations. Juwan Johnson is the guy you go grab, has a top 10 upside tight end in week 1. You pick him up. You don't think about it. There's a lot of alternate options. Schultz, Everett. Don't worry about it. Just pick up Juwan Johnson and move on with your day. He's your guy. Juwan Johnson, not so obvious lock of the week at tight end. He is your wild card to make it into that top 10. He's not ranked there, but we think he'll finish there. Right, so to round it up, Sam Howell at quarterback, Kenneth Walker at running back, Jahan Dotson at wide receiver, Juwan Johnson at tight end. So while not being ranked there in our rankings, can ultimately finish top 10 at their position if things go their way, if things play out how I predict. These are great guys to put into your lineup and feel comfortable, feel good about it, whether it's an injury replacement, whether it's a flex, or if it's just the way you drafted, whatever the case may be, feel comfortable week one getting these guys in your lineups. Again, guys, this is Rival Fantasy. This is our quick hitting wild card episode for week one. I'm Neil Maligno. Subscribe to the show, turn on notifications, and download the Rival Fantasy app. What are you waiting for? Get on there, play challenges, bingo, and season long, all live NFL season right now.